Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another edition of Hilaal Live. My name is Shadrach, all the way from the Cape Town studios. I trust you're all well. Thanks for joining us on channel 347 on DSTV. I'll be keeping you company until about 5:45, and then we cross over to Durban for the Muharram program. And I'm sure that you all have been enjoying that. That's been going on for the 10 days of Muharram. Now, as we do on Hilaal TV, or more importantly on Hilaal Live, we feature interesting people doing wonderful work in our communities. Now, today, you don't just get one Shadrach, you get three Shadrachs in studio. I've decided to invite two of my cousins into studio to discuss a very important organization called VMS, but also to discuss and feature young professionals that are giving back to the community. First up, I'd like to introduce one cousin who causes me pain, and because she's a dentist, Dr. Shabnam Shadrach. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Luqman. Shukran for having us on the show.
My pleasure, my absolute pleasure. And then another cousin of mine who causes the criminals some pain, Tasneem Shadrach. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. It's so lovely to be on the show, Luqman.
Jazakallah so much for coming in. Now, I'm very excited to have you guys on the show, more importantly, because you do so much work, good work in our community, young professionals giving back to the community as well. Shabnam, tell us a bit more about who you are, what you do, and what is your role in VMS?
Okay, so I am a dentist in private practice based in Athlone, and I offer my time at VMS, also known as Vision Medical Suite. So I then take my dental expertise to the organization and then offer dental treatment, whatever is needed.
Okay, so from extractions to dental procedures, various procedures?
Yes, definitely, all basic dental treatment. And we also offer conscious sedation.
Wow. Okay, so there's quite a range of things that you do.
Definitely.
Awesome. And then Tasneem, your role as support in the VMS structure?
Well, let me start off by saying that I'm in the legal sphere. I am a public prosecutor.
Okay.
I've been a part of Vision Medical Suite. I've been a volunteer for almost 5 years now with the organization.
Nice.
What I do in the organization is that I bring my legal expertise as a young professional. I ensure that legal compliance is met before patients go for any procedures or treatments. Also, I ensure that there's admin compliance within the organization. My duty mainly stretches to the sedation clinic that is run once a month.
I see.
So that is my sphere of and what I do at VMS.
So tell us more about VMS. I mean, I've been around the organization. I've been on some of the projects that you guys have been involved with over the years. But tell us more about the organization. Give us some history.
Okay, so the organization, VMS, also known as Vision Medical Suite, is a non-profit organization that offers free medical services in three main divisions, which is medical, dental, and psychology. The head of the medical department is Dr. Nasreen Ali. The head of the dental department is Dr. Yusuf Da Costa. And then we have the head of psychology, Mr. Habib Kaji. So this organization started 24 years ago when Dr. Yusuf Da Costa offered these free dental services at his rooms, as well as Dr. Nasreen Ali that offered her services, free of charge medical services at her rooms. And then in 2013, the organization was then officially registered and formalized and is now an accredited organization with the various entities such as the Department of Social Development and SARS and various other entities.
Okay, now that's important for an NPO to have that accreditation.
Definitely.
Because it not just opens up doors, but at the same time validates the service and that you provide to the communities. That's very important as well. So who exactly do you render service to? I mean, what are some of the treatments? Who do you go out? What communities do you service?
Okay. So we render services to the destitute. So that is our primary focus. Homes for destitute, such as orphanages, youth care centers, old age homes, various child centers as well. We serve approximately 3,700 people annually,
Wow.
and approximately 55 beneficiaries, and that is throughout the Western Cape. So some of our beneficiaries would include Marsh Memorial, Woodside Sanctuary, Ihata Shelter. So there are various people that we service as well. Our focus, the focus of the organization is basically on the institutionalized and disabled. I will not hijack my sister's expertise. She can run you through the treatments that are offered by the organization.
Okay. It's very important, though, that you touched on organizations that need the assistance, primarily because our healthcare system cannot provide for those that are less fortunate and need the service.
That is correct.
I mean, if you go into a health system these days, you've got to wait a while before you get seen to. And is this some of the need that you've identified?
That is correct. And we often find that people that are in our indigent communities and our homes for destitute people, those are the forgotten people of society. So we primarily focus on these people. There is a waiting list that is, if you go to the government institutions, there is such a long waiting list. So an organization like VMS really resonates with me as a civil servant, as a community member, because there's definitely a need for it. And that is why I choose to exercise my energy into an organization like this. We cannot let our forgotten people sit at the sidelines. Often these patients are people that they don't have a voice, Lukman. So VMS is offering this service to these destitute
And
people.
24 years down the line as well, you've obviously provided quite a bit of service to those that couldn't afford it, and sometimes can't wait for the treatment to be seen to because it's so urgent.
Yes.
And it could be life-threatening at some times as well.
Yes, these treatments are definitely an urgency. And I'd like to thank Yusuf Da Costa and Dr. Nasreen Ali and these people who started this organization 24 years ago. They are the pioneers of this organization. So for us to come in as young professionals and being able to put into this organization, we have to ensure that VMS maintains its legacy.
Brownie points. But it's always nice to give homage to the people that started the organization, had the vision. To excuse the pun, to start an organization like this as well. Shabnam, the organization itself, do you have specific operating times?
Okay, so this organization operates from Monday to Saturday at 9 to 1 and sometimes at 2 to 5 at the Azar Mini Mall in Belgravia Road, Athlone.
Oh, yes, okay.
And then once a month, we offer a conscious sedation clinic where we see the intellectually and physically challenged children and adults.
Okay.
And that is most times it's the last Sunday of the month.
Okay, and it's also very central because if you look at where the clinic is situated, it's accessible from the north of Cape Town and the south as well. Belgravia Road being such a popular road as well, so people can get to there via public transport.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it by appointment only? How does it work? Do they come in and make an appointment, or are they seen to immediately?
Okay, so it is on an appointment basis. So all the beneficiaries, the 55 beneficiaries Tasneem mentioned earlier on, we're servicing those patients.
Okay.
So they have direct contact with someone in the administration area who then liaises with them to actually book these appointments. And I am also one of those practitioners. I offer my time on a Friday at my own practice so that I don't go to Belgravia Road.
Oh, that's why I can never get an appointment on a Friday. No.
So selective Fridays, I offer my time where an orphanage or a shelter for abused women and children, I would then see those patients. And when it's emergency cases, I also get called to ask, can you please assist? And that is at my own rooms.
Nice. Okay. And we're going to give out some details a bit later on how people can get hold of you guys, get hold of the organization, so that if they are in need of assistance, they can come to you guys as well. But the organization itself, who runs the organization?
So the organization is run by volunteers, a team of volunteers. We are about 130 volunteers.
Sure.
Right? So our volunteers are made up of a medical team which comprises of anesthetists, theatre sisters, doctors, and then we've got the dental team, of course, the dentist, dental assistant, oral hygienist, maxillofacial surgeon as well.
Sure.
And then we've got the legal team and the administration team. So it's a multidisciplinary team, but we cannot run this organization without the volunteers.
That's also crucial, and it's also important for people to give back. To also gain that sense of community spirit as well.
Yes.
And it must be so heartwarming when you're
Very
tiring, I would
rewarding.
imagine at times, but heartwarming in certain instances. You haven't only restricted your services to the Western Cape. I know you've got projects outside of the Western Cape as well.
Correct.
That's correct.
So in 2018 and 2019, we visited the Eastern Cape, the rural part of the Eastern Cape, specifically the Transkei area.
Okay, yeah.
And so there is a dire need for healthcare services in that area. And a lack of healthcare resources. So we went out there to be of service to those people. And in 2019, when we returned, we actually opened up a health point. And so at this health point, we now offer free medical and dental services there. And so it's running on a daily basis and it's quite busy.
Lovely.
We would love to return to the Eastern Cape because the Eastern Cape finds itself in the top 5 most impoverished places in South Africa, and we feel that we can do more over there.
Inshallah. All right, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back, we chat to Dr. Shabnam Shadrach and Tasneem Shadrach in studio from an organization called Vision Medical Suite, chatting about the great work that they do. You are still watching Hilaal Live. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for watching us on Hilaal Live. It's a show where we introduce you to wonderful organizations doing amazing work in and around our beautiful country. And I've invited 2 of my cousins into studio. I know I'm probably going to get people saying, oh, nepotism and all of that type of thing. But they are 2 young professionals that belong to an organization called Vision Medical Suite that they give off and volunteer their own time and expertise and sometimes funds to actually ensure that the organization runs. Dr. Shabnam and Tasneem, thanks so much for coming into studio once again. The organization, and like any organization, requires certain funding, requires certain input, to ensure that it runs well. How's the organization funded?
Look, man, the volunteers of this organization is such an integral part of the organization. Believe it or not, our funding comes from the practitioners and the volunteers themselves.
Okay.
We do not have any corporate sponsors, so funding is definitely something that VMS is in dire need of. We are willing and hoping to engage with any corporate sponsors who are willing to come on board and see what the organization is about and what we do as an organization, as we are self-funded. The community they are sponsors to this organization.
Brilliant.
So I would implore you, Lukman, even the viewers out there, to come and see what VMS is about. It's something that cannot be spoken with words. It's something when you are at VMS, it's something that you experience.
Lovely.
So I would implore you, especially to give us that media coverage, just to come and see what our sedation clinic is about. Sitting here as just the humble Tasneem Shadrach, I work with volunteers where I can't even measure up to what they have brought into this organization. So I'm very honored to have this platform and so that my voice as a member of this organization to be heard. We do have a system, a debit system that we have set up where people can contribute.
Oh, nice.
We also have a bank account where people can make a bank deposit. We also issue a Section 118 certificate.
Oh, nice. Section 18A certificate.
So yes,
yeah.
Section 18A certificate if it's required. So we
Gotcha.
do that as well. So we're definitely in dire need of funding.
Nice.
Lukman.
I like that
Yes.
as well because, people who would like to contribute would like a little bit of a tax break, and the Section
Yeah.
18A does that as well.
Definitely.
We were chatting earlier about some of the projects that you were involved with, Shabnam, and I know you get involved physically in the projects as well. Tasneem's there just to wipe the forehead and things like that. But it must be so heartwarming when you go into an area, do the work that needs to be done, and then leave. Tell us about some of the projects that you've undertaken.
Okay, so the main, well, I'll start with our project that we do once a month, and that's our conscious sedation clinic,
Okay,
right?
okay.
And these are for the intellectually and the physically challenged, both kids and adults. And these are people that cannot help themselves. So I think this is one thing that's very close to my heart, that we are able to service these people out there. And access to healthcare for these individuals it's not readily available. And the fact that we can come on board and be of service to them so that they are able to be treated a lot faster and, give them pain relief, bring about comfort. So I'll start there. And then the other thing that's quite close to my heart is the fact that we visited the Eastern Cape twice.
Nice.
Yeah.
So out in the Eastern Cape, unfortunately, those people are so underprivileged and so impoverished. They don't have access to, that basic healthcare, that basic human right. And so even though we were only able to visit twice, we would love to return. When we actually arrived there and people started attending the clinic, people from even the able-bodied patients, even they started showing up because they thought that they could come for their eyes. They thought they could come for basic medical services. And the goal was actually, yes, to offer some medical services, but also to actually focus on the dental part of things.
Okay.
As dental-related problems it's a very important thing that needs to be addressed.
Of course.
Because then our mouths form part of our general our general health.
Correct.
And most times that part of the body is neglected. And some with not having that readily available access to dental care, there was this need to actually go out there and be of service to these people.
Besides performing some of the procedures, do you guys do a bit of a dental awareness talk or things like that?
Definitely. Look, even once a month, a conscious sedation clinic. Myself as a practitioner, I always try and communicate with the patients, with the parents of the patients, to tell them, look, this is how you need to care for. If possible, care for your kids' teeth at home, or to better care for the overall mouth. When I have the orphanages visit my practice on a Friday, I also make sure that I'm doing some form of awareness.
Nice.
Out in the Eastern Cape, unfortunately, we had interpreters, but we didn't really get much of a time to spend doing any form of awareness, because we needed to actually deliver a service where that healthcare was concerned.
And language barrier was definitely an obstacle.
Was an obstacle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so anyone listening in the Eastern Cape, if you'd like to get involved with VMS, here's your opportunity, because we are national. You're welcome to get hold of VMS details. You can get them on all the good social media platforms, Vision Medical Suite, or just VMS, and contribute where necessary. What's in store for VMS? What are the future projects? What can we look forward to?
Okay, so
I think you've touched on some of the future projects.
Yeah, I think I have. But one other thing that I'd like to mention is we actually have been called up from Durban and Johannesburg to be of assistance in their hospitals, because there is a dire need in certain areas in those places as well. So inshallah, we are hoping to be of service wherever we can. Yes, funds, definitely that's an issue. But we trust that the organization is going to flourish, and the intention is good.
Inshallah. I think the more people understand what your vision and your mission is, more people will link to you guys, especially on the psychology side as well. The dental side, I know it's working well. Is that an area that you guys are looking to build up as well, the psychology side?
Yes, definitely. I think all-roundedly in those three main
Mental health is
divisions,
such a major problem in our country.
in those three main divisions, medical, dental, and psychology. And I think that you need to bear in mind that most of these patients are institutionalized. They come from homes, shelters for abused women and children, being one of them. And these kids and even these women, they need counseling. They need a form of care in that regard. So definitely that is an active part of Vision Medical Suite at the moment. But I think with time, we'd like to expand and bring on board more people
Inshallah.
to be able to deliver the service to more people.
Of course. What's the goal of the organization? Where do we see VMS in the next couple of years? What are some of the amazing projects and accolades you would like to take on?
Well, this has been an organization which has been running for a good 24 years with the limited resources that we have already. So in the future, we're hoping to get our name out there, engage with different corporations so that we can take this organization even further. There was something that you mentioned, Lukman, mental health is also something that is such I would say a very scarce service to indigent communities.
Of course.
And if you look at the parents of some of these, I would say intellectually challenged children, there are so many people that are affected by these different things, and mental health is definitely
But it's
something.
such a taboo topic as well.
Nobody
wants to be treated for mental awareness or mental health illness.
That's
and I think
true.
more awareness needs to be created. Organizations like yourself can do that. Before I let you go, you guys are amazing. I must say, congratulations on all your accomplishments, just let alone your professional, but also the work that you do in the organization as well. Maybe a word of advice for other young professionals who would also like to get involved.
So the organization is open to anyone who would like to volunteer. We also use this organization as a platform to teach others. So we do have students from UWC dental faculty, students from UCT and Stellenbosch University that come and observe, and we then allow for them to learn from us, and we also allow for them to be involved and assist us.
Like Dr. De Costa and them have started this amazing organization. You guys are the next generation, and hopefully the next generation, and continue that legacy as well. Tasneem, from your side?
I think, Lukman, just briefly, it was because of my dear sister. She basically coerced me to come into this organization. But I thank her. She's been my moral compass ever since my mother passed away. My sister has been my moral compass in my life. So the organization's saying or motto is give a little, change a life.
Nice.
And, when I look at this organization, give a little, change a life, just joining this organization as a volunteer has changed my life so much. So I would like to thank my sister and all the volunteers. They are VMS, and VMS are built on the backs of these volunteers. So I hope that they are watching at home.
Of course they are. They are watching.
I just want to send a big shout out to the volunteers.
Absolutely.
And one other thing I'd like to add is that with what we do, it comes down to intention. And we can only pray and make dua that Allah will accept our good intentions and our efforts. Inshallah, Ameen. And that the organization is more than just Vision Medical Suite.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes.
And one last shout out
And
before
then
I get into trouble.
I'd just like to say, and that we continue being a benefit to mankind, inshallah. And to all the Shadrachs watching in Durban, all the aunties, Auntie Becky, our dearest Auntie Mariam, everyone, Auntie Cookie watching, all the volunteers. You are the heart of the organization, Dr. Leroux, everyone, Teacher Diane, everyone in that organization. They are so brilliant. Mr. Evermore as well.
Nice.
So, shukran to the volunteers. Thank you for allowing us to be on your show.
Absolute pleasure. Dr. Shabnam, Shadrach, Jazakallah so much for coming into studio. Keep fighting and flying that South African flag. And Tasneem, Shadrach, Jazakallah so much. And that's how we end the interview with VMS. Please go and visit them on all the good social media platforms. There are banking details as well that you can contribute where necessary as well. After the break, we chat about another organization that is raising funds for Palestine by, would you believe it, cutting your hair.